Hello, I'm Christine Edwards Pitkin, and I want to welcome you to the Relationships and Revenue webinar, Winning Government Contracts with Confidence and Ease. So, I'm the founder of a company called Civility Localized and a new brand called Public Sector Payday, which is a training and coaching program. I'm really excited for you all to be here today, just so that I can bust some myths about government contracts and get your questions answered. Okay, so I'll share a little bit about me. I got my master's in public administration with a concentration in urban policy. I've always been interested in how systems work. I went to school for sociology, and I've always just been this weird policy nerd. Going into all of my job interviews, I always said, I'm going to be a city manager someday, right? So I've always just been interested in how our government systems operate. I worked in government for about 10 years prior to becoming an entrepreneur. I left my full time job in 2020, like so many of us did, and really just doubled down on my entrepreneurship journey. I've been in business for 7 years, and about 100% of my portfolio is government clients. I might have one or two nonprofit or neighborhood clients, but mostly work with governments. From 2022 to 2024, I served as the equity and contracting facilitator for Central Piedmont Community College Small Business Center. We graduated 8 cohorts using the public sector payday curriculum. So, this curriculum has been tried and true. Through my company, Civility Localized, we scaled to $2 million lifetime revenue just through sales alone, just through our consulting work. And in 2025, we scaled through acquisition, where I actually acquired a community engagement consulting firm that is Raleigh based. I'm based in Charlotte, and so I acquired a Raleigh based firm in order to scale through acquisition and expand to a new market in a really interesting way. So that's been going well, and it's really a story that I love to share with folks. A couple of the awards that we've been recognized with are listed here as well. So that's a little bit about me. And here again is a snapshot of some of the organizations that we've worked with. We've worked with municipalities like Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, the city of Kansas City, Missouri, Greenville, North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Central Piedmont Community College, and a lot of large and mid-sized municipalities and towns all in between. And then this is a snapshot of some of the outlets that we have been featured in. I became somewhat of a speaker and thought leader in 2025 when I took the TEDx stage for the very first time. My topic is about quiet activism and how you can be an advocate in your everyday life. So let's get into the real reason that we're here today. It is all about the power of relationships. Okay. We are talking about how relationships plus revenue equals results. So, truth be told, even though 100% of my clients are government clients, 73% of those contracts came through relationships, not bids. Some of those relationship sources include client referrals, strategic partnership networks, business colleagues, like, for example, accelerator programs. I have been in so many accelerator programs, and they've all been, beneficial in one way or another. But I've actually have gotten new business from accelerator programs. One of my colleagues from a cohort that I was in, I think it was the Goldman Sachs 10KSB program. They actually gave me a lot of really good advice on business insurance and helped me to get the policies that I needed to get on a very large contract. And then, of course, subcontracting. That's where the real meat of these government contract relationships lie. As a small business, I think that oftentimes we don't have the capacity to take on a prime contract, and so that's why I want to talk about subcontracting today and how you can go out and meet prime contractors and partner with them. All right, your network is your net worth. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the shifts in the government contracting landscape. This is the elephant in the room in 2026, right? As you can see, there's a prompt here at the bottom. Share in the comments one word how 2025 treated your business in one word. Okay. Um, some of the comments that I'm seeing, phenomenal, pivotal, rough. Yes, 2025 was a really tough year. I think anytime that you have a shift in policy and a shift in the administration, there's definitely going to be changes that are happening. But last year, we've seen unprecedented changes like we have not seen before. And it started as early as 2023 and definitely way before that. But the things that we started seeing at a national, federal level, I believe started in 2023, specifically around business and around affirmative action. So in 2023, the Supreme Court decision, Students for Fair Admissions v. Harvard, actually was a decision to roll back affirmative action policies. Okay. These policies, in looking at fair admissions at universities, will actually to level the playing field for Black and Brown students. That has ended. And that created a snowball effect for federal social disadvantage programs. What are federal social disadvantage programs? Some of those programs are programs that allow small businesses to get their foot in the door, so that all of the contracts are not going to huge corporations and they're not going to huge conglomerates. Small businesses are the backbone of our ecosystem. They're the backbone of our economy. And so that's why the federal government has programs that allow set aside funding for small businesses, minority businesses, women businesses, and veterans. So this Supreme Court decision created a snowball effect, okay, which you now are seeing at the local level, but more so at the federal level. All right, so at the state level, I'll give you an example here in North Carolina. NCDOT, the Office of Civil Rights, actually changed their name to the NCDOT Office of Economic Opportunity and Compliance. So we're rolling back language because of the decisions that are made. So one of the things that happened as a result of that is now you have what's called the DBE interim final rule. That means the DBE program. DBE is Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. This is a program that recognizes minority owned businesses as having a social disadvantage. So they set aside some of the funds and they set goals where a portion of the contract has to go to a DBE small business, minority business firm. Now, because of the decisions that are being made at the top, now you actually have to create what's called a social disadvantage narrative, which is basically just jumping through more hoops. You can still get to these programs, but you have to jump through a couple of more hoops and fill out more paperwork. They are now requiring applicants to demonstrate the social disadvantage on a case by case basis instead of relying on group based presumptions. Like, for example, being a member of a racial group or a member of an ethnic group doesn't create a social disadvantage, in their opinion. You have to really kind of prove it, right? Okay. Now, moving into 2025 and 2026. Last fall we saw the longest government shutdown in modern history. From October through November, the federal workforce was slashed. You all saw this, right? And the federal workforce is shrinking. So our federal government is not very reliable right now. I'm just going to tell the truth. It's not safe for small businesses to be working with the federal government, my opinion. However, these programs are still in existence. Yes, there's more hoops. Yes, there's more challenges, but when have there not been challenges, right? I want to reframe and re-look at where we can get in as small business owners. State and local government remains strong. Looking at North Carolina, our growth projections in North Carolina, the GDP is forecasted to rise between 2.1 and 3% in 2026 alone, driven by growth in 15 economic sectors: the information sector, agriculture, manufacturing, IT, creative, healthcare, right? Teaching, technology, all the sectors of the economy here in North Carolina are growing. Unemployment is low, right? And then look at the migration numbers. Look at the folks that are actually moving into North Carolina. North Carolina is averaging 339 new residents daily, driven by companies like Amazon, Novo Nordisk. And so, what's going to happen when these big companies are moving into the area? They're going to need workers, they're going to need support, they're going to need consultants, vendors. Our government is going to have to support these operations, right? So that's what I want to shift our focus to for this webinar. And so when we talk about government contracts, just know that I'm talking about state and local. All right, we got to move on. Okay, so this is really what I want to talk about today. The webinar is going to be broken down in between three different parts. I'll be covering first securing government certifications, next, the marketing portion, which is relationships and results, marketing your business to the government. And last but not least, number three is creating a winning contract strategy. So this is the public sector payday three-part winning formula. Certifications, marketing, contracts. Okay, one of the main questions that I get all the time is, will the government buy my products? Will the government hire me to do my services? So I've come up with this kind of framework to look at it where I divided it into three separate categories of the kinds of products and services that the government is actually going to buy. The first category is goods. Okay, so this is goods like physical products, things that you can touch and feel, stationery, bulk mailing, technology devices like laptops, computers, any kind of physical device, hauling and dumping. I know in the webinar, we actually have pavement specialist, someone that lays pavement and that lays asphalt. That would actually be one of those construction goods. Porta-johns for construction sites, office supplies, office furniture, branded materials, right? Custom swag, anything that's related to physical products, also food, produce, and health and beauty items. So that's the goods category. The next category is professional services. So I know we probably have a lot of professional services businesses in this call as well. So I fall under professional services, community engagement, public relations, media, marketing, any type of consulting service, such as a marketing, outreach, leadership consulting, strategic planning consulting, that is going to be a professional service. But also things that you can charge by the hour, like information, IT consulting, architectural design, landscaping, things that you're physically doing. That's a professional service. All right. Social services is the third category. And that would include things that are mandated by the government, that the government is actually required to do, like childcare, tutoring and education, career coaching, leadership coaching, state sponsored programs like family support, things like that, health and nutrition, tobacco prevention, violence prevention, and anything related to substance abuse prevention. So these are social services programs where a lot of times they have these programs in-house, but they don't have the capacity to do it at the level that they need to do. So often they hire outside contractors to do that. And that could be any one of us. Okay. So that's definitely a government contract. You guys let me know in the comments if you do not see your business or your services covered here. Okay, so I'm actually going to get into certifications. So certifications are a big part of government contracts. And of course, in the public sector payday model, it's the first part. I don't think you should start looking at any other part of winning a government contract until you consider whether you should get certified. Okay. So if you're a small business owner and you fall in any one of these categories, you should absolutely get certified. And we'll talk about the benefits of certifications and some of the challenges that we've been seeing a little later on. So here are the basic eligibility requirements. The owner of the business, to get government certifications, most of them must either be a member of a minority category, such as Asian, Black, Hispanic, or Native American, or female. There is a separate category for white women, people who identify as female and identify as women. That is a WBE certification. Now, when we talk about minorities, that is going to be your MBE certification. And the reason that these certifications exist, as I stated before, is to level the playing field because historically, minorities and women have been excluded from a lot of opportunities, and government contracts was definitely one of those opportunities that they're trying to level off and make more fair. All right. The second eligibility criteria is that that minority or woman owner must own or control at least 51% of the business. So even if you are a co-owner or you share ownership in the business is going to be certified based on the 51% owner. All right. So if you are a married couple and you want to get a woman-owned business certification, then you need to make sure that the wife, the female owner, is the one that owns 51% of the business. The third criteria is you have to be a for-profit entity. These certifications are only for for-profits. These are not for nonprofits. Number four, the minority owner must be active in daily management. So that means that the person that we're talking about, the owner, that's a minority or that is a female, they must be active in daily management of the company. They can't just be owner in name, right? They have to be active. And then that personal net worth must not exceed 750K. I'm always going to point you to the exact certification manuals on this because sometimes these numbers change, but this hasn't changed for a long time. Personal net worth must not exceed 750K, and that does not include the equity in your home or the equity in your business. Okay. You have to have a significant business presence in the area that you want to serve. So if you're getting certified in North Carolina or in Mecklenburg County specifically, then you need to have a significant presence there. That means you need to have a mailbox there, or maybe your office should be located there or around that area. And then, of course, you have to provide a commercially useful function. And so this points to this last piece about commercially useful. This points to what's called the NAICS codes. You have to make sure that you have a corresponding code for your business. Now, in the previous slide, we talked about the kinds of products and services that the government buys. You're going to want to make sure that your business has a corresponding NAICS code. I don't have a slide for this, but I'll talk through it just really quickly. So when I'm saying NAICS, I'm saying NAICS. That is the North American Industry Classification System. It is a code that is used frequently by government agencies for procurement and contracting. They are used to determine how many businesses in a particular industry exist that is set to a corresponding goal. All major industries have codes: manufacturing, construction, office supplies, marketing, professional services, and more. All right, so you're going to go on the census.gov and you're going to look up your NAICS code based on your keyword. Okay, and so to get certified, it has to actually be a business that the government is going to work with. Okay, so let's talk about the specific kind of certifications that I want you to go for. Me, selfishly, right? I think you need to get certified even in unprecedented times, even during times where certification programs are being challenged. They're rolling back these programs. They're rolling back the kind of language that you can use. I get it. It's hard. But until these programs go away completely, keep applying. Keep going after them because these programs are free. So let's talk about them. The government programs for certifying your business are absolutely free. Let's start with the local level. So your city, county, I live in Charlotte, I live in Mecklenburg County. The city and county have a SBE program and an MBE program. Okay. You can get certified based on your ethnicity. You can get certified based on your gender. And they have a program for SBE, which is Small Business Enterprise. So as you can see on the screen here, I've listed those out. And so what you'll do is you'll Google, the name of your city, and you'll look up MBE programs. Most of these applications are online applications. Another certification that's available at the local level, that's maintained at the local level rather, is the ACDBE. That is Airport Concessions DBE. Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. So this allows you to actually be an airport concessions vendor, but you can get certified as a disadvantaged business owner, whether through your ethnicity or your gender or just anything that is going to identify you as a disadvantaged business owner. Okay, let's move on to state level certifications. If you live in North Carolina, I'm actually going to advise you to go after your state level certification first. This is going to be your North Carolina Hub certification. That's historically underutilized business. All right. So, the reason that I think you should get your state level certification first is because you can work in any city or county in the state and be certified as a Hub MBE. You can get a Hub MBE or a WBE, okay? MBE is minority business enterprise, WBE is reserved for white female business owners. They also have what's called an SBE at the state level. So again, the state level programs are going to be more concerned about your ethnicity and your gender. Local level programs are going to be more concerned about the size of your company. Okay. So these are programs that are available at the state level. I encourage you to start there first, because if you get certified at the state level, then you already have all that paperwork ready to go, and they also ask for this certification more often than they ask for the other ones. All right. Let's talk about federal level certifications and programs. So how many of y'all, let me know in the comments if you are familiar with the 8A program. This is a program that's provided by the SBA, Small Business Administration, which is a department of the federal government. Now, again, we talked about how this program is under attack. However, it is still open. You can still apply, even though the program is under attack, and the folks in our administration at that level, they're just not really working in our favor, but that program is still available. And it's an awesome program for small businesses that want to work directly with mentors. They provide you mentors through the 8A program that help you get fast-tracked to work on federal contracts. I hear amazing things about it. I'm not 8A certified myself, but I think the 8A program is great for consultants, people that do any kind of like consulting and training. I've seen a lot of consultants do that, educational kind of work, but also construction companies, people that work in construction development, and they need to scale. So scalable businesses are the ones that are going to do great in the 8A program. All right. The next program at the federal level is called WOSB. Sometimes it's called WASB, and that is a women-owned small business. And this is for people who identify as women. And you basically apply, you sign up, and you have to get it notarized of your gender. And essentially, they have money set aside in federal contracts specifically for women-owned businesses, because women are the largest, the largest category of new business owners in our country, right? We're always starting businesses. So there's money set aside just for women. All right. The next one is called the Hub Zone. This is based on your zip code, and it's based on economically disadvantaged zip codes. So if you are in a hub zone, sometimes dollars are prioritized for these economically disadvantaged locations. All right, so I encourage you to go on the sba.gov website and learn about these programs. Also free. So all of these certifications that I've talked about so far at the local, state, and federal level are free. Did y'all know that these programs were absolutely free? The next set of certifications, though, are not free. There are a couple of private sector certifications. The first one being WeBank, WBENC. That stands for Women's Business Enterprise. No, wait. Yeah. Women Business Enterprise National Council. I think that's right. Um, and then you have NMSDC, which is the National Minority Supplier Development Council. Okay, so WeBank is for women owned businesses, and NMSDC is for minority owned businesses. Both of these programs are paid membership programs. So you can get certified to work with corporate buyers, not government buyers. These are private sector. You can get certified to be a corporate supplier and vendor. Okay, so you're going to be working with corporations like Bank of America, the big financial institutions, the NFL, a lot of really big organizations. What's another one that I've seen? MLB, a lot of sports agencies, Walmart, CVS. So, any kind of corporation that is looking for diverse suppliers, they're looking to work with women small business owners and minority small business owners. These programs are great for corporate. So if you want to get in front of corporate entities, you do have to pay. These are paid membership programs. You pay for the certification. I think you actually pay to be a member in a local chapter. All right. So, and I have a note here that says stay ready so you don't have to get ready. One of the things that I learned during the pandemic was when I got certified, I had to get all of my paperwork together. And because I was certified, I became qualified for different grant programs. And when I went to apply for these grants, I already had my ducks in a row. So I was able to get quite a bit of grant dollars because I was recognized as a Black owned business and a woman owned business. And I had all of my paperwork together in one folder. So you got to stay ready. All right. Okay. The second part of the public sector payday module is marketing to the government. So let me know in the comments what is stopping you all from marketing to the government right now. Some of the responses we have in the chat are don't know where to start, not sure how to position. Okay, absolutely. Well, so we're going to talk about it. So, strategy one is understanding the procurement process. When we talk about procurement, what are we talking about? Procurement is the government sales cycle, it's a sales process for government. Understanding how that works. So, in the government, anything that is above a certain threshold, usually that's above $10,000 or even $5,000, anything that cannot be purchased on a government issued purchase card, like a credit card, they're going to be putting out to bid. Okay. So if you need training, if you're the water department and you need training for your employees, you have a department of 30 and they need leadership training, right? So you're going to put an RFP out. So that's the procurement cycle. Strategic plans, any kind of long range plan, any kind of training, any kind of construction, delivering on a service. So you want to understand those cycles by looking at the budgets, right? Going to city council meetings, going to the budget hearings, learning what is the total budget for your city. I know in Charlotte, we have a $3 billion budget. So if you live in a large city like Charlotte, the budget for your local government is going to be quite large. Or if you live in a mid-sized city or a small town, it's just good to understand what that budget is so you can understand what you're working with as far as procurement. Identify who the decision makers are. Learn the language. Go on LinkedIn and look up procurement professionals for your city. See what their titles are. Go and find the department heads and understand what are their titles, what do they do, right? So you can start to track those opportunity pipelines. One of the best way to track opportunity pipelines is to get certified. So let's go back to module 1, right? So when you get certified, you will be added to a vendor database, and you can actually sign up to get emails when bids are announced. You can sign up to get emails on training. You can sign up for a lot of different networking opportunities, and you can start to track those pipelines over time. All right, strategy number 2, positioning your business. I want you to really develop that unique value proposition. So, at this point in your business, unless you're first starting out, you should know what that value is. What do you bring to the table? Right? So develop what that unique proposition is and see if you can position it into what the government is buying. So listening to city council meetings, researching some of the RFPs, and starting to learn the language about what it is that they're looking for. Next, you want to make sure that you're building credibility markers and creating a case study portfolio. This is where I encourage my students to make sure that they're collecting testimonials. How many of y'all collect testimonials? Let me know in the comments. And where do you collect them from? Do you collect them from Google, Facebook? Do you put it in a customer survey? How often are you collecting reviews and testimonials? And the reason that I asked about that is because when it comes time to write the proposal, you need to be able to tell the story of your brand. Tell us how you help the people that you help, right? And those case studies are really going to help with that. They're going to help illustrate your past performance. All right. The third strategy, of course, is capability statements. How many of y'all are familiar with a capability statement? A capability statement is like a resume for your business. This actually is how I got started in government contracts to begin with. It was through my capability statement. I went to an event and I happened to know that someone that I was following online, who I viewed as a mentor in my head, they were always talking about government contracts. And so I built my capability statement and I said, you know what, I'm going to print it off and I'm going to bring it to this event, because she was at the event, like on a panel. She was one of the panelists at the event. So after the panel discussion, I went up to her and I showed her my capability statement. And it was bad. She said, oh, no. This is not good. So she actually helped me rewrite my capability statement so that it met the compliance standards, so that it actually showcased my experience, it showcased who I am, it showcased my differentiators. And she really helped me structure it in a way that when I showed it to a government buyer, they actually knew that I could speak the language, right? So capability statements are definitely important. I have lots of free templates available. I'm going to make sure that this is available to you all on the replay. If you do want to go and take a look, I have some on my website at meetchristine.co. I have some capability statement templates on the blog right now. You can take a look at. All right. Pro tip. Government buyers want to know, can you do the work? Have you done it before? And why should they trust you? Okay, past performance is key here. One last note on marketing is push marketing versus pull marketing. So, push marketing is pushing the product out to the customer. It's big, large scale marketing, such as trade shows, TV, radio, big email campaigns, PR, printed mailers. This is great for raising awareness and building a brand. You got to get the name out there in a big way. However, this is not targeted. So you're just shooting it out there into the airwaves, not knowing who it's going to hit. And it also is very expensive and it's not sustainable. So you can do a big push in the beginning, but you're not going to be able to sustain that over time. Now, pull marketing, on the other hand, is like a magnet. It pulls people in. It's getting the customer to come to you, whether that's through SEO, blogging, social media, videos, webinars, right? Articles, ebooks. It's very targeted. You know that the people that you're talking to are your people. It provides value immediately and it generates qualified leads. It's a little bit more cost effective, even though I will say it is starting to become expensive now. And it requires ongoing content creation. So it can create burnout quickly. So this content marketing, it can create a lot of burnout. And it also feels like you're not really contributing because there's so much of it in the space. So I want you guys to think about, when it comes to government, what do you think those type of buyers prefer? So if I'm a procurement person and I have an RFP, um, I'm probably going to be leaning towards the pull marketing. I'm going to be looking at white papers. I'm going to be Googling. I'm going to be looking at blogs and case studies. And I want to know what local businesses can actually do this work, or national businesses, right? So I really think pull marketing is much better for government contracts to really kind of flex who you are as a brand. But there's definitely a place for push marketing too. It just really depends on your industry. All right, let's move right along. Okay, this is going to be the final stretch of the webinar. I'm getting into consistent contract strategy. This is the third part of the public sector payday framework. So the prompt down at the bottom of the screen says, have you ever missed a contract because you found out about it too late? I know I have. So I want to talk a little bit about where to find bids. I use the word bid, RFP, contract interchangeably, but like where do you find these? Most businesses only look in public portals. After the RFP is published, they do a lot of cold submissions. It's a very reactive approach, and there's going to be a lot of competition there. Where I find contracts and where seasoned professionals find contracts is through pre-bid conversations, right? Solicitations and talking to people about what's coming down the pipeline, going to industry days, conferences, talking to people about where the industry is going, networking events, budget planning meetings, right? If a city is budgeting for a lot of transportation changes, then you know that's what you need to be prepared for. That's what you need to be on the lookout for. How can you pivot and partner with someone that's working in that area? Proactive relationship building, and then strategic positioning. And I also look at national bid portals. So not just our local, I look at other bid portals, such as, I think one of them is sam.gov, bid prime. I will look at like a planning.org or something like that. So like looking at industries, sometimes industry organizations have their own portals for RFPs. Okay, friends, we're entering the final stretch. So before we wrap up, I want to talk about some myth busting facts for government contracting. So, the first myth is you need connections to get started. That's simply not true. You can build connections strategically through your certifications and through networking. The second myth is that state and local are not profitable. And federal contracts is really where it's at, where you can get these big, 7-figure contracts. In reality, federal contracts are inaccessible. Local is close to home, and you can still get 6-figure contracts and subcontracts, and you can build a brand over time, right? You can build your muscle for doing these local contracts and state level contracts over time, and they can be a big part of your business. Um, your business is too small on the flip side, right? So the set aside programs and goal programs where there's money set aside for small businesses and minority and women owned businesses, that's what it's made for. It's made for small. I also would love for y'all to consider subcontracting and partnering with organizations that are similar to yours to create bigger capacity and go after work together. The next myth is it's too complicated. I tried it once and, I failed. What's going to be different, right? Well, you need a proven process, not just luck. Most failure is a result of inconsistency. Okay. So when it comes to learning a new process, you need to be able to practice it over and over and over, not just throwing spaghetti at the wall. Okay. So when it comes to government contracts, one of the things that I'm going to be instructing on in the public sector payday program is going after multiple bids at a time, going after similar RFPs in the same category at a time. Because if you cast a wide net, you will catch more fish. All right, you get where I'm going? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about public sector payday, what this training is and what it isn't. This training is not theory without implementation. It is not just one size fits all templates. I'm not just going to give you a bundle of templates, right? I'm not going to give you outdated strategies from 10 years ago. It's not just going to be information that you can Google. This is going to be information that it is proven over time through my nearly 10 years of doing this work and nearly 20 years being in this industry. All right. And it's not a magic bullet. So hard work is going to be required as a part of the public sector payday program. So what you will get in this program is 7 years of insider strategies, real proposals that won real contracts. I'm going to be sharing those proposals with you. Access to my vendor network, the people that I work with to write proposals, the people that I work with to execute on some of our work, and mentors and people that I've talked to about budgeting and pricing, strategies that work in 2026, step-by-step implementation plans. So, walking through the different modules step by step. And there's going to be accountability and community support. So let's hear from my current clients. First, let's hear from Darren Anderson of Skyhouse Media.
What is going on, family? Darren Anderson here, founder and creative director with Skyhouse Media, and I'm here to share with you a quick success story. So, as of 2025, our company, Skyhouse Media, has actually been rewarded our first government contract. In partnership with the team at Civility Localized. So we're ultimately working on the Strategic Investment Areas project for Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, though we provide many production and creative services, the services that we are providing are before and after drone videos and pictures, as well as during construction drone videos and pictures. This content will be used for marketing purposes, compliance purposes, and overall documentation purposes. And if it wasn't for Christine and the Civility Localized team bringing us onto this project, we would probably know nothing about how to even get on board a project of this magnitude. Once again, we are incredibly grateful to Civility Localized team and the city of Charlotte for bringing us onto this project. We are looking forward to serving on more projects in the future. If you would love to know more about us, you can reach out to us at hello@skyhousemedia.com or check out our website, skyhousemedia.com.
Next, let's hear from Tiara Mahoney Paulino of Dual Vita Languages.
Hola, hola. My name is Tia. I'm Mahoney Paulino, founder and CEO of Dual Vita Enterprises. We have partnered with Civility Localized under the helm of Christine Edwards through Dual Vita Consulting, where we help government entities, nonprofits, schools connect with the Spanish speaking community in hopes of better servicing. Uh, my work with Christine over the past few years um, has been an amazing experience. It's given my firm the opportunity to work on winning government contracts. We've been able to connect and work with a variety of entities, municipalities, state level, all kinds of things in between. So I really appreciate having the opportunity to partner with Christine and Civility Localized, just because it gave.
Yes, Tiara. So, Tiara is someone that I worked with to provide language translation services on multiple projects. She also is a cultural navigator. So, she's helped me understand the Latinx culture, and she has provided community engagement consulting on various projects. Darren worked with me through a subcontract on various construction projects with the city of Charlotte, where he was filming on location photos and videos and drone footage. So, through working with them and teaching them some of the strategies in public sector payday, they have actually gone on to win government contracts on their own and in partnership with my company. So let's talk about public sector payday. We have our self-paced course. This course, which you will gain instant access to at the time of enrollment. This course is currently live. Okay. It is made up of 7 comprehensive modules. The modules are video modules, written, downloadable PDFs, and it's also quizzes and case studies that you can read over and over, and you can interact with the videos as well. They have a template library with capability statements, outreach emails, bid tracking spreadsheets where you can actually use a spreadsheet to track your bids over time. I'm going to have my winning proposals in there, downloadable materials, and you get access to discounted strategy sessions with yours truly. So, that is our self-paced course, priced at $497. Okay. Next, we have our live coaching program. I'm so excited about this because with this program, you actually get so much. You get so much in this program. You get everything that's in the self-paced course, plus 5 coaching sessions that are going to be conducted live, 90-minute long group coaching sessions to take you along the way. And then the 6th coaching session is actually going to be office hours. So you can actually bring in the things that you're working on, and we're going to have hot seat style coaching. All right. You're going to have weekly accountability check ins, access to a private community where you can interact with other people in the cohort and share information. And you're also going to get access to vendors that I work with, guest speakers, proposal writers, people that work in operations, etc. So the coaching program does start soon. So we are having enrollment close on February 22nd. Stay tuned if that changes at all. But right now, we're scheduling to start our first class on February 25th. All right. This is the price for the coaching program and the course. Y'all let me know if y'all have any comments in the chat or any questions that you want to add. Now, I actually have a fast action bonus. Anyone who signs up by tonight by 11:59, so if our workshop is on February 11th, you got to make sure that you enroll by the end of the day on February 11th. You will get access to our AI resource suite. Um, this suite of tools is something that's still in beta format. Our proposal decision maker tool will take the guesswork out of deciding whether or not to pursue a proposal. So it's based off of 21 questions. You answer the 21 questions and it gives you a score as to whether you should go after a proposal. It's a really cool tool. And then we have our RFP proposal partner. This is really cool. Again, it's still in beta. No one has seen this yet, but it will help you craft compliant, narrative driven proposals that actually stand out. I have trained this tool on my winning proposals so that all you have to do is upload an RFP and upload your capability statement, and it will create a strong first draft in minutes. Okay, it's crazy. It's crazy how effective it is. And then last but not least, if you enroll tonight, the first 3 people that enroll tonight will get a free strategy session with yours truly. All right. I hope you guys are ready to take action, okay? And you're ready to win government contracts. I want to put this up on the screen for anyone that's watching that's curious about where they go for enrollment. This is the website, publicsectorpayday.com. This is the QR code. And we also have an email address where you can reach out to us at hello@civilitylocalized.com. Okay. And you can reach out for questions. All right. Now, before I get to your questions, because I definitely want to get to some questions that were asked ahead of time, that were sent in via email and LinkedIn, and then I'm going to get to y'all's questions. So I want you to ask yourself 3 questions first. Number 1, will this course get me closer to my goal? Number 2, will this course or program get me further along rather than figuring it out on my own? So, like comparing it to doing it yourself. And number 3, can I work with the enrollment fee? Right? Is this fee something that is doable? If you answered yes to any of those 3 questions, will this course get you closer to your goal? Will it move you further along in comparison to doing it yourself? And can you work with this fee? If you answer yes to any of those, you need to sign up for this program. Okay? All right, let's get to your questions. I'm going to go off camera so you guys can see the questions, and I'm just going to give the response verbally. So one question I got is the best type of certifications as a marketer for these contracts. I have a hub and I'm working on SBE. I see a lot of construction contracts. Do you see many opportunities for creatives? So these questions are about creatives, people that work in marketing. So you already have your hub and you're working on your SBE. That's great. And you are seeing right now a lot of construction contracts. What would I advise you to do is go to these construction pre-bid meetings, even as a marketing person. Bring your capability statement with you, because these large construction projects still need help with communications. They still need help with design, signage. Who's going to design all of the signs for this new project, whether it's a roadway project or a transportation project? So I encourage you to continue going to the construction meetings and don't discount those. But if you want to be a little bit more proactive, what you might want to do is also go on the vendor portals and look up specifically marketing contracts. So you're going to go on the vendor portal and look up using a keyword marketing. You can use a keyword communication or design, right? So that way you can find opportunities that are going to be a good fit for you. Okay, number 3, should I start subcontracting under someone else's contract or start bidding on my own? If you're just starting out, I actually think you should be a subcontractor. I think that it builds credibility, it builds your experience, and it helps you get your foot in the door without taking on all of the liability and all of the responsibility for the whole project. And you can still negotiate a good amount of subcontract dollars for yourself. So if you're a subcontractor on a big project, like say, for example, you want to get on a strategic planning project and what you offer is leadership training or coaching, You can partner with a larger firm and say, well, I do leadership training and coaching. I can provide the facilitation services for this strategic plan. That way, you can work 8 to 10 to 12% of this contract, and you can be doing other contracts at the same time, right? So even if you see a big RFP come out and you're like, man, I really think this would be good for me, but I don't think I can do all of this work, go to the pre-bid meeting anyway, take your capability statement, put your name in the room. If it's virtual, put your name in the chat and let people know that you want to start subcontracting. All right. Question number 4. I'm currently responding to 3 RFPs right now. Great. One of the proposals is a university that I've done work with before, and I wasn't sure how to leverage the relationship. Interesting. So if one of the proposals is at a university that you've done work with before, I would encourage you, as long as it's not the procurement person or the project manager that's listed in the RFP, reach out to your former client that's at that university and say, hey, FYI, I'm going after this project. The reason I want you to make sure it's not the person that's listed on the RFP is sometimes it's against the rules to reach out to them outside of the proposal process. It's against the rules. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to have a special advantage. But if you know somebody else at the university that's in a different department, definitely reach out to them and just give them a heads up and say, hey, I'm going for this. Is there anything that I need to know? They might have some insights. Okay, so that's how you can kind of leverage it. The other thing is in your proposal, you definitely want to showcase that you've done work with that university before. Absolutely, because it builds that trust. They've worked with you before, maybe in a different department, so they will be more likely to hire you again. Okay, the next question is, what is the first step as a hub certified communications company should take to establish a relationship with an agency with multiple divisions? Do you reach out to each division separately? For example, the NC Department of Health and Human Services has 2 divisions I have interest in, which is child development, early education, and the Division of Social Services. So, should you reach out to them separately? Yes. Yes, you should. If you're hub certified and you want to get a contract with DHHS, that is the North Carolina department, right? You want to get a contract with them, but there's multiple divisions. Absolutely. You should absolutely reach out to separate divisions because the different divisions have different budgets and they might have different needs. So what you're going to do is find the email addresses of the people that lead these divisions, or maybe somebody that you know, or it could be a LinkedIn connection. Go ahead and reach out to them and say, hey, I'm hub certified. I do communications and I happen to do communications in this area. I do child development communications. I do social services communications. Send them your capability statement. You might not get a response immediately, but they will have your capability statement, right? And when they do have opportunities, they will know who to send it to. So yeah, I think that's a really good strategy. Reach out to them separately. All right. Thank y'all so much for your questions. If you have questions, put them down in the comments and I'm going to make sure that I get them answered. Thank you all so much. I hope you're ready to win government contracts, 10x your revenue, and kickstart this winning domino effect. These opportunities are there. These opportunities are here for us as small business owners. Thank you again for your time. Make sure you visit Public Sector Payday to learn more.